This is The Scoop for Wednesday.
I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines. The Sunrunner bus route connecting downtown St. Pete to St. Pete Beach could lose part of its dedicated lane in South Pasadena. WMNF's Chris Young reports it comes as the Florida Department of Transportation is evaluating past and future projects that repurpose car lanes for transit.
The Sunrunner is a frequent bus line that has its own lane through most of its route, but it could lose its dedicated lane along Pasadena Avenue. Whit Blanton is the executive director of Forward Pinellas, the county's land use and transportation planning agency.
Without a dedicated lane and those kinds of stations that were built as part of it, I don't think you'd have as much incentive or a catalyst for the kind of redevelopment the city of South Pasadena is looking to achieve.
The removal of the dedicated lane also could risk the Sunrunner losing federal funding. Blanton says that's unlikely, but not impossible. Opponents say the dedicated lanes cause congestion and not enough people use the Sunrunner. But Blanton says ridership will expand as the region grows, and it's a viable option for people who don't want to pay hefty parking fees.
I just don't see why we would want to remove something that we spent a lot of political capital and monetary capital to build as recently as 2 or 3 years ago.
He encourages listeners to contact their elected officials and advocate for the Sunrunner. Chris Young, WMNF News.
State Representative LaVon Bracy Davis defeated her brother and 2 other candidates yesterday in a special Democratic primary election in the race to succeed the late Senator Geraldine Thompson in Orange County Senate District 15. Bracy Davis had about 43% of the vote, while Coretta Anthony Smith had about 28%. Former U.S. Representative Alan Grayson received nearly 17%, while former Senator Randolph Bracy Davis's brother, got 12%. Bracy Davis will face Republican Willie Montague in a September 2nd special general election. Rashawn Young, former chief of staff to State Representative LaVon Bracy Davis, could be positioned to replace her after winning the Democratic primary yesterday in a special election in Orange County's House District 40. Young had 55% of the vote in his race with former Representative Travaris McCurdy, according to the Orange County Supervisor of Elections website. Young will face Tuan Lee, a Republican aerospace engineer who had no primary opposition in the September 2nd special general election. Governor Ron DeSantis yesterday signed a bill reversing a controversial 2018 law that led to limited public beach access in some areas. Lawmakers in April passed the bill, Senate Bill 1622, after widespread complaints about waterfront property owners in Walton County preventing people from using beaches. The issue involves customary use of beaches. The Florida Constitution ensures public access to portions of beach below mean high water lines, often described as wet areas of beaches. But customary use involves dry sand areas of beaches above the mean high water line that are often privately owned. The 2018 law put in place an extensive process for certain local governments that want to have ordinances or rules aimed at ensuring customary use, including requiring judicial approval. Temperatures are expected to soar across our area again today, but that's not the only weather hazard in the forecast for us. Meteorologist Megan Borowski from the Florida Public Radio Emergency Network explains.
So yes, high pressure will still dominate the pattern for the first half of the day, which means heat index values will likely get into the lower 100s for a good portion of the Florida peninsula. But at the same time, we are going to be tracking an upper level disturbance that should approach our state from the east, from the vicinity of the Bahamas. And this low will help to increase the potential for isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms this afternoon. In general, I expect storms to track from east to west today. Isolated severe cells are possible toward the east coast, but the better chance for more numerous cells will be across the interior and western regions of the peninsula. Damaging winds and frequent lightning strikes will be possible this afternoon and evening from storms that do develop.
Megan urges us to seek indoor shelter if storms begin to develop around the Tampa Bay area. She reminds us that if we can hear thunder, even if it isn't raining or skies are sunny, we are close enough to a storm to be struck by lightning. Storms this afternoon in highs in the lower 90s. Partly cloudy tonight with overnight lows in the lower 70s. Thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon with highs in the lower 90s. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.